guys, Samantha from Jessima Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you a cool technique that involves taking polymer clay and creating an effect that almost looks like fabric. So what I'm going to work with is black Polymer, and this has been rolled out on the thinnest setting of my pasta machine. And for the technique, you want your clay to be as smooth and flexible and soft as possible, because you're going to be kind of bending it in such a way that if it's a little on the crumbly side or a little hard, it's going to crack, and that's something you don't want. So I would recommend storing it. Don't put it on paper or anything like that, because that's going to dry out. But anyway, working with black Polymer here, and on the one side I am going to dust cornstarch because I want it to be as non-stick as possible, and then on the other side I'm going to use mica powder as the non-stick agent. So this is going to be the back of our piece. Okay, and I'm just going to flip that over, and that should be able to move around. And you can use any colour of mica powder you want. I'm going to go with a gold, a kind of royal blue, and then a Persian purple. And the numbers are 12, 9 and 14 from my Etsy store Jessima design, but you can use any mica powder you want. Now I'm just going to take those and just open them up. And just grab a brush and dab that colour around like so, just at random, until your clay is completely covered. Okay, and there we go. That's how it looks. Okay. And the next step, you could use it just as it is right now, but I wanted to add a little bit more of a pattern. So I'm going to bring over a silkscreen. Any silkscreen will work, and I would advise going with a silkscreen that has kind of a abstract pattern rather than one that has a specific image going for it, because it is going to get distorted and moved around. So a specific pattern may look a little bit funky, so try to go with a more randomized pattern. Now I've stuck that down to the surface, and I'm going to use white paint, and it's just regular acrylic paint. Just pop that across the top and scrape it across the surface. Okay, and I'll just go in and patch up any areas that the paint might not have gotten, like so. Just want to make sure that I've got a nice even coat, just to clean that off. Okay, and then lift up. Let me just grab that. Okay, and then go clean that silkscreen immediately. Okay, and the paint has dried for about 60 seconds or a minute, and what I want to do is, the pattern is a little strong for my liking, so what I'm going to do, so I'm going to pop a piece of paper over the top. I'm going to pat that down, and that's going to soak up the paint, and I will pull that up, and you can see that we kind of get a nice vintage effect. That is something that you can do. It's up to you whether you want to do that or not, but I thought that would be a cool little trick to show, and you can see there in detail how that looks. Quite cool. Right, Then I'm going to allow it to completely finish drying, and in the meantime I would advise preparing a backing sheet of clay. Excuse me. I'm going to make a piece of clay about the thickness of the middle setting of my pasta machine in black, and that's to pop this onto. Okay, and I'm just going to pop that to the side and bring over a piece of plain printing paper along with the piece of clay. Then bring over another piece, and I just want to burnish this so that the back is nice and smooth, because when you roll it out there are going to be some streaks and imperfections, especially if you rolled it out using the pasta machine, and this will smooth it out. There we go. And I'm just going to leave it on the piece of paper, and I'm going to bring this over, and remember that the back is still very light, nice and stick proof. You should be able to move it around without it sticking at all. If it does, you need to apply a little more cornstarch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this down, and this can be a little finicky, but just tap down little parts, and the point is to kind of place it down and then encourage these folds in the clay, like so. And the more folds you can get, the better. And so sit and fuss with it for as long as you need. And once you've kind of got it started, it's easier to work with, and you just kind of encourage the clay to move in whichever way it wants. And this is why I've also got it on a piece of paper, because then I will be able to move it around and get better angles, and that will make it easier to work with. And just keep doing that until you have a result that you like. Remember, at any point you can lift this up and retry, because the clay is not going to stick to the backing until later on. So just keep trying until you're happy. Okay, and there we go. Then just take that and very gently with the palm of your hand just pat it down, and that will just kind of get everything in place. Okay, and then you're going to want to choose your cutter, and I would advise using a cutter that doesn't have pinch points, in that the narrowest part of the cutter isn't too narrow, because the clay is not really stuck down all that well to the backing clay. It's really going to depend on the cutter pressing down and smushing the sides down to get the clay to stick. So if the clay sticks in your cutter, it can cause problems. So I would recommend using a cutter that again doesn't have pinch points. Like this would be a pinch point, but it's not too narrow. Now I'm just making sure that I've got enough space. And then you're going to take that and you're going to press down, and by doing this you're going to smush the top clay piece into your bottom piece, and it's going to help stick everything together. And then lift that up, and it did stick in the cutter, so now I get to show you how to fix that. You put that to the side. I'm going to bring over another one, and I'm going to make sure that I've got a nice clean cut. Okay, and you can press down on it, especially that little middle spot, and just gently get it out the cutter. And this also is another reason to not have cutters with too narrow a points, because then you won't be able to get in and kind of get it out of the cutter. There we go. Okay, then cut out your other piece. Okay, and there we go. Then from that point you're going to just pop that into the oven for a full hour at Primo's recommended temperature, and that should bake the clay and firm it up, and then you can go in and clean the sides. The backs also should be nice and smooth because they were cut out on a piece of paper. That is something also, if you don't want it to stick in the cutter and you are afraid that it is going to, you can always smooth the clay down onto a tile. I use a ceramic tile. You could use a glass tile as well, and that will help prevent the clay from sticking in the cutter, but it does mean that you're probably going to need to sand the back quite a bit because it will have little pits caused by cutting it out on the tile. But yeah, that's up to you whether you want to do that or not. Bake it for a full hour, and then when it's done, we should be able to finish it off. Okay, and here they are out of the oven. And I've run a piece of sandpaper just along the edges, a 400 grit sandpaper, just to clean up any rough edges that might be there, but you don't need much sanding. Now, the backs I find a little plain, so I want to do something fun with them. Also, I did bake the centres as well. But what I'm going to do for the backs is I'm actually going to grab a little bit of bubble wrap and some white acrylic paint again. And I'm just going to pop some of that down. Grab a brush. I might actually need a little more paint than that. Grab a brush. And I'm just going to brush the bubble wrap with that paint, like so. Then while it's wet, grab those, pop them down, and give them a press. Also do that for these ones. And that's a fun little way to introduce a pattern. You can see there. Just pop them upside down to allow the paint to dry. In there. And if you happen to not like the pattern, or maybe you dropped the piece and you ended up smudging it, you can always just pop it immediately under some water and give it a scrub. But I thought that was a fun way to introduce a backing effect. But yeah, let the paint dry, and then we're going to varnish. Okay, then once they've dried, you're all good to start the varnishing process. And for that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to varnish one side at a time, and I'm going to be using Varnishing water-based gloss varnish, and it's a polyurethane varnish, and I'm just going to use that to varnish. And the reason I am not dipping is because our piece has all of these little folds and contours, and it can be difficult to get that to sit evenly when it's hanging and drying. So in a situation like this, I would recommend brushing the varnish on rather than dipping it, just because you'll get a more even result. You'll be able to make sure that you get the varnish into all of the little nooks and crannies, and yeah, just get a even finish. Then once this is dried, I will probably apply a second coat because I want it to be nice and shiny, and then I will apply one coat to the back, and then we'll be good to assemble them. Okay, and then once they're varnished, this is how they should look. And I did end up only doing one coat on the top because one ended up being enough, but you can apply more than one if you want. And here is what the back looks like. And from there, you're going to want to take a pin drill, and you're going to want to drill a hole for either your earrings, or if you're going to be creating pendants out of the other two pieces, you could drill a hole for a bail, or you could loop the cord around them. I've decided to make them into big statement earrings, but they are quite big, so if you think that they're too big, you could either use a smaller cutter, or you could turn them into pendants. But basically what you'll do is, once you've done the drill hole, and that was just a small handheld drill, you're just going to grab a jump ring, pop that through the hole, and pop on your ear wire. And I decided to go with this earring because it kind of, I feel like it matches with the shape. The ear wire reminds me of kind of a crescent moon, and I feel like these just kind of remind me of space themed earrings. Don't ask me why, they just do. Alright, and I have done the other ones. Here is the other little one, and these are more normal sized earrings. And then here are the larger ones. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the tutorial. The main technique that I was showing was how to create this cool kind of sari ribbon effect. You could use it in a multitude of different ways. Bear in mind that you could just use solid coloured clay if you wanted to. Just make sure that you apply cornstarch to both sides of the veneer rather than just on one side. But yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Have you tried this technique before? If you haven't, are you gonna try it? Let me know. Also, if you have questions or requests for future videos, please let me know as well. And if you like the video, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. It greatly helps the channel out. And if you enjoyed it, leave a comment letting me know what you liked and what you didn't like. I read every single one of the comments. And again, thank you for watching the video. I do hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.